DeVon Pouncey is a program director and journalist at Street Roots. He joins us now live from Portland, Oregon. Thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World. I want to focus on the bigger picture. What makes a 18-year-old white American shoot so many black people? I mean, what is breeding this extremism, if I may, domestic terrorism in the U.S.?
Yeah, I think it's America's history and it being rooted in racism first and foremost. And that, acts like this particular act in Buffalo, this is learned behavior. This isn't something that just kind of naturally flows through you. And I think the systemic oppression, the systemic racism that has spewed throughout this country since its inception is playing out into ways like these, where we see these extremely violent acts and ultimately these domestic terrorist acts, which is exactly what we had in Buffalo. So I want to make sure that we give condolences to the family and friends of those who were victims of these acts in Buffalo. But this is rooted in something much deeper than just a one-off act. It's rooted in its systemic racism that America has been plagued with since its beginnings.
Okay, DeVon, then how do we address this issue of systemic racism in the U.S.? Because certainly incidents like this one have taken place in the U.S. over the past few decades. This is not the first one, and certainly with how things are looking on the ground, unfortunately, it seems it may not be the last one as well.
Absolutely. I think this is one of those moments where we need to put political agendas aside. We need to not worry about political affiliations. We need to not worry about broadcasting or other platforms that we are connected to and that we represent. This is something that we need to look at for exactly what it is. And it is indeed domestic terrorism. And the shooter, in this case, who I will not name on this platform, actually let it be known what these acts were. And we need to take that at face value rather than using agendas for maybe a political party that one represents, maybe a platform that one represents that tends to have a certain type of messaging that may not align with indeed what the act was here. And I think we need to come to a united front and call this for exactly what it is. It was a racist hatred act, and it was indeed domestic terrorism, and it is not something that should be allowed. It is not something that we should accept here in the United States of America. And so once I think people from across difference can come together and realize that, we can actually take steps in the right direction to no longer have, or at least minimize, these types of incidents taking place. But as long as folks across difference don't accept this for what it indeed is and what it is that the shooter called it to be, then it'll be hard for us to see an end to this. And obviously we haven't to this particular point in time.
All right, DeVon Pouncey, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World. Really appreciate your taking out the time.